I can now say there are definitely over 100 devices in the world that I designed that are being used right now into electronics. But then I'm like, there are so many devices and gadgets and things out there. I wanted to be the one who designed and devised that.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I have the wonderful guest Akila, and she's going to tell us about her amazing career. So I'm going to kickstart off this interview by asking her to give a brief introduction of who she is and what she does.
Hi everyone. So I'm Akila Murali. I'm right now in the United States in California, Fremont. I am a product engineer who is working in probe card manufacturing industry. It's a pretty niche industry in the semiconductor world. I started off as an electronics student back in India, where I did my electronics and communication, and I came to the United States to do my master's in electrical engineering. During my master's, I did a bit of design, product design, and also a little bit in electronics, and really wanted to get into product engineering and designing my own product. And that's how I am in Fremont right now, working as a product engineer.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the niche market you're working in? That sounded interesting.
So before every chip is packaged, they go through a quality check, which where you basically decide if the chip is a good chip or a bad chip. And part of that, and they go through various different stages, and then a part of that is where they use a probe card, which is basically an electromechanical device, which is used for testing this specific wafer. Even before the chip is packaged, divided from the wafer, we check the wafer and you use this electromechanical device called as a probe card. So there are various different technologies that are present in the probe card industry. So based on the capability of the wafer and based on how powerful the chip is going to be, you can use different technologies to test the wafer.
What made you want to go into that specific role?
I was initially very excited by the idea of that because every single device that I design is going to get manufactured into a huge component or a huge device on its own. So I can now say there are definitely over 100 devices in the world that I designed that are being used right now. So the idea that I could get experience in designing these devices and learning about more into electro and mechanical design is what got me super interested in the role.
Interesting. So your job title is a product design engineer, am I right?
It's a product engineer.
Product engineer. Okay. Interesting. Thank you. So the next question is, can you talk us through your journey from high school, any A levels that you did, to university, to getting the job you are now?
So I did my high school in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. So now I was in high school. I was on a completely different path. Electronics is not what I was looking into. I was initially thinking of doing medicine. So that's a whole different ball game. But towards the end of my high school, I unfortunately, because of how competitive India is, I couldn't get the exact score I needed to get into a medical university. So I thought, okay, what's the next thing that I'm now interested in? Because sometimes things don't go according to your plan, and you need to come up with a plan B. And my plan B was because my dad is into electronics.
Mm.
I was always fascinated with electronics from a small age, but I never realized like how much I am into it. So I decided, okay, let me give that a shot and see do I really like it or not, because
Yeah.
that was the second closest thing I could think of. And so for my undergrad, I started off with electronics. And as I kind of went into my third year, I was pretty confident this is what I wanted to do. And this is what I saw a future in. Because I was really impressed by like how right now I think we're totally in like the electronics era.
Yeah.
So almost everything in our lives revolves around electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got to that point, I think it was in my third year when I really wanted to um get into like creating my own product.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it's sort of like I'm really into electronics, but then I'm like there are so many devices and gadgets and things out there. I wanted to be the one who designed and devised that.
Yeah.
So I was looking at different programs and courses that are available. So my undergrad, I did it in Kumaragur College of Technology,
Yeah.
and that's where I met Arun, a mutual friend of ours.
Yes.
So he was in a different program and I was in a different program, but we did a lot of mutual like college work together. So um, I was looking at programs in the United States where it would connect my love for electronics and product design.
Yeah.
And that got me to California State University in Northridge,
Exciting.
where I actually did a lot of my courses under Professor John Valdovinos, who really got me into like designing and a lot of like simulation courses, which kind of is very important in product design because you want to test for various parameters and various factors before a device goes into manufacturing. So
Mm-hmm.
simulation, I would say, is sort of a midpoint between when a product prototype is designed to when a product can be like sort of manufactured. Because by simulation, you can see where you're making mistakes and what are different stress points that you could correct,
Mm.
or also see like what the possible capability of the device could be.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of courses under him, and so I took some electronics classes as well, but most of them were into like product design, material kind of classes.
Yeah.
And I did my thesis on it was a project designing wireless energy transfer in a
Wow.
uh, left ventricular assist device.
Wow.
So it was a concept that my professor has been working on for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. So I helped him in part of the design and testing of the initial stages,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is what my thesis was based on. And I was, once you're done with your master's, you sort of like, oh, like I need to see what's out there, and then you apply, and that's a whole stressful situation.
Yeah.
But luckily, I like found a company and a role that really fascinated me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that's how I got here as a product engineer.
That's exciting. So did you always envision yourself to become a product engineer? I know you mentioned about, you were originally going to do medicine and you saw yourself doing electronics, but like after you realized that you couldn't get into medicine, did you see yourself becoming a product engineer, or does it just happen?
No, I don't think like at any point in my life, like in the beginning, in the early stages, I saw this as my end goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think my main idea overall is to try to like add more to the community I'm in or to the
Okay.
society I'm in, which
Yeah.
is why I was always drawn to the like medicine as a profession because they do so much, especially right now during the pandemic. So you
Yes.
constantly see like, and that was my, I think that is my underlying idea of our
Mm.
theme. Um, but then, plans constantly change. So as in like the career path you're trying to take.
Yeah.
So that since medicine couldn't work out, I was just trying to see what is something I'm really interested and passionate about, and that which could kind of match with this underlying theme that I have.
Yeah.
And that got me into electronics and product, and then eventually to product design.
Hmm.
So I feel like there were like a lot of options every step of the way, and this was not like my plan A. I would say this is like my plan C. But I think what was very important that is that it's my plan that goes according to that my underlying theme.
Yeah.
Um, and I can still see like my future evolving. I still like this is where I want to be right now, but in the future, I really want to try it because right now uh, I am designing a device that's being used for testing other medical and other devices that are going out into the field.
Mhm.
But maybe in the future, where I could have a direct impact would be something I'm looking into or seeing how I can get there.
Fantastic. Thank you. The next question is, what do you enjoy about your job and what don't you enjoy? I know you've briefly touched upon that, but I think it would be good to focus it a little bit more.
Um, I love the fact that I get to design these devices. That's like the main thing that gets me excited. And I'm constantly learning more.
Hmm.
Um, what I think like because right now I've been at my job. I think it's about to be 2 years
Okay.
or just over 2 years. Um, and like a lot of the times, like when I like whatever I learned in my undergrad might have completely like my brain would have just like erased over it, and I uh, would forget, oh, wait, this is why I was excited. But then when you're in the lab and you're working on different things and you're testing different things, that
Mhm.
gets me really excited about like, oh yes, this is what we used to do and this is what we
Yeah.
wanted to do. And just trying to like debug things, like when you have like a error and you finally figure it out, of like using some of the basic information that you would have
Mm.
learned in undergrad. Those kind of things get me excited overall. And in terms of what um, sometimes doesn't get me excited is I constantly want to learn more or new challenges.
Okay.
So in that case, sometimes it's not uh, you sometimes you get into a particular style of design,
Hmm.
and I might not push myself harder to like
Yeah.
see how this can be done better,
Hmm.
but I'm working on that, trying to be more consistent and trying to learn new things to
Hmm.
improve my design style.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's really nice to hear that you're really passionate about your job, and the stuff that you don't really like aren't. It's nothing too serious. So it's quite good to see that you're really thriving in your job. So that's nice to hear. And then the last question I have is like, what are your greatest accomplishments to date? Have you got any awards? I know you said some of the stuff you designed is in products now, but is there anything else you're really proud of?
Um, I think, I mean, I haven't gotten any awards or anything like that, but I think, like I said, just the idea of knowing that my design and devices are out there is
Mm-hmm.
what I would think is my greatest achievement.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the projects that I got to work on are pretty cool. Like just being a part of that, being a part of a bigger team, All those things, they're pretty important to me. I feel like for someone, but my overall biggest achievement would be for someone whose plan A didn't work.
Yeah.
I feel I've gotten to a point where I'm really into what I do, and I'm glad that I found my A plan. Like, maybe it's a 8.3 plan, but it's a plan that I wanted. I think overall, I would say that is my greatest achievement, because sometimes it can be a struggle trying to find your way and trying to find what you are really passionate about. But I think when you just like keep going at it, try to like see what are the options out there, try to keep exploring. When you fail so many times, it kind of gets you to where you want to be.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's all of the questions that we've had for this interview. Again, I'd like to say thank you to Akila for joining me in this video, for being a guest member on STEM Talk. She said some amazing and very interesting points as a product engineer. And so, guys, if you would like more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and I'll be back with another video. Bye.